hear the top. So what are you going to say first?
Okay, we are live right now. We're just gonna go basically over this stuff. How are you? Hi, Maral. How are you? How's your week? That's good. That's good. It's a really good energy today we got here. How's everything? Good.
Great. Yeah.
We're here with another episode of live Aperitivo in English with Woodbridge. Yeah, how is everything is
I'm
okay?
getting used to it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's like we went up to 4 episodes. That's a great thing. I really like it. So anyway, before we start, as I always say, turn on your notifications on Woodbridge Live, share the posts, and join us to have some fun. Join the podcast. It's going to be fun.
Join us with a drink.
Oh yeah, don't forget the drinks. Never forget the drinks. This video is not sponsored by Moretti, okay? This is just a normal. This is just a normal one. Okay, so Maral, today we decided to speak about a topic that I think it's a very, very interesting topic, since there are so many viewers who they can actually relate to this topic, which is the main topic is foreigners in Italy, living as a foreigner in Italy. As me, I'm a foreigner living in Italy. I've been here for almost 2 years. In another 4 or 5 months, it will be 2 years. Yeah, came here September 2018. Started doing my studies here. There was so many new experiences that I earned during here in Italy. Because as everybody knows here, I was always a foreigner in every country, because we were traveling all the way since I was 2-3 years old. From this country to that country to that country, and it was a really nice experience, since we get to know the culture, try to be familiar with the culture of that country that we were living in. It was really good. It was really good for me. But the only problem was I could never call a place home. Exactly, I couldn't do it.
I was about to ask you, where is home for you?
Yeah, exactly. I can't say it because okay, basically nationality wise, I'm Persian. From Iran. I was born in Iran, okay? But the times I was away from Iran is more than the times I was in Iran. So I don't know if I'm supposed to call Iran my home or not. Yes, it's my nationality, it's my country. Yeah, but I was in Australia, I was in Malaysia, Sweden, Germany, Turkey, Dubai, and now Italy. So for me, it's a bit difficult to call someplace home. So I call myself.
Traveling with your parents?
Sorry?
Were you traveling with your parents?
Yeah, until I went to Malaysia, it was with my parents. Because I was a teenager. I moved to Malaysia when I was 16 or 17, 16, 17. And then I was there for 10 years. And then after that, my parents wanted to travel again for business. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to choose a country. I'm going to go there. And I'm just going to, settle down over there. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the aspects of being a foreigner in different countries?
Probably the story of my life, I guess.
Exactly, right. So can you give us a summary? When did you move here? How was it for you?
I moved here in 1990.
1990. Okay. Wow. I wasn't even born.
No?
That's 3 years before I was born.
Makes me really old, I guess.
No, you're not. No.
I moved 30 years ago, right?
30 years ago, exactly 30 years ago. Yeah. Oh,
and I was 7. Yes, I was 7. What's with
because okay, when you were 7, now I'm a bit shocked about your age right now, because
and how amazing I look, right?
You look oh my god, I thought you were 29.
I'm kidding.
29, 30. Oh my god, wow, that is amazing. That is really amazing. Yeah. No, you know how to take care of yourself. That's great.
Yeah, kidding. So yeah, 1990, and actually not in Milan at first. So we started with Parma, which is an amazing city in Emilia-Romagna.
got a
And
friend.
yeah, I spent my childhood in Parma. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
And then yeah, many places, and then yeah, 20
Okay.
years ago in close to Milan in Saronno.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then to Milan, but then I went to London to study, and then it was not so much traveling, like yes, traveling a lot, but not living
Oh,
in
okay,
different
all right.
places.
It was
Yeah,
just like basic traveling, yeah.
but
Okay.
then
For me, one question. Well, basically, because you moved here as a kid, as a child, you were like 7 years old. So for you, it would have been much easier to adopt the language, the culture, and everything. But
definitely.
if you remember, like, was there any obstacle? Was there any difficulty for yourself to adopt the culture? Because for me, I had it. I had so much because it was different. Like each country, they have their own culture. Like it's super different from to like mimic the same one. Where does Sam come from? Thank you so much, Francesca. I'm Persian, but I come from so many places. I don't know how to say it. I'm an international citizen, to be honest. Yeah, sorry. So back to the topic. For me, was like if I wanted to be like the same culture I was in, like Malaysia, or I was in Iran, or I was in Sweden, and if I wanted to mimic the same thing and do it in another country, it would have been so much harder. And the thing is, the problem was some things that I was saying in one country was kind of offensive if I said it in another country.
Yeah.
And it was super hard. Even like for you would have been much easier because like I think we got Martina.
Hey!
She's alive.
I made it! Yay!
God, that is
Finally,
great.
with my phone.
You got a
Where
great
are
Yeah.
group. I envy you.
I'm on the balcony.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. The
All
weather
right.
is great, so I changed the location,
Okay, all right. So
How are
hopefully
you guys?
we're good. We're talking about living as a foreigner in other countries than your country, which today is like foreigners in Italy. We were just talking with Maral, and I asked Maral that as a child when she moved here, what were the difficulties that she was facing in order to adopt the culture and the language. So and she was
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, honestly. It wasn't. I didn't speak a word of Italian, so and Farsi is totally different.
yeah.
In Farsi, you write from here to from right to left. Yeah.
Yeah, we go right, left. Yeah.
Opposite in Italian. The whole system is different. So I was a foreigner, yes, an Iranian Muslim. When immigration was not so.
Yeah, it wasn't strict about it. The immigration in Italy or back in like
in Italy, I mean, immigration was I'm not saying a new word, but it was definitely a new phenomenon in Parma. So
okay, all right.
So yeah, I was it was not the best time of my life, let's say.
Yeah, like everybody faces the same thing. Yeah, I think it's what were your difficulties for, let's say, getting used to the situation, getting used to the environment.
It wasn't the language itself, because I was quite a talented girl. Talented for language, yeah. I had a talent for languages, so language was not the main problem. It was cultural, and it was it was not the language. It was the fact that I felt really lonely. I was different. I was definitely different, and so I felt really, really lonely.
You kind of felt like a stranger, right?
How old were you when you moved?
This is what I felt like. Basically, for me, like I felt like an outsider. All right. So for me, it was like that because like even like I wasn't confronting anything like because I'm not the people from their own country, but like for myself, it was really hard because. And especially for me, I was getting used to one country and then I was moving to another country. And that was really hard for me because like I had my friends, I had the culture, I had the differences, the inside jokes, the cultural slangs, the phrases that we were using. And if I wanted to do it in another country, especially if a country is not an English speaker, like Sweden, when I went to Sweden, I was there for a couple of months. No, it was almost a year. I was living there for almost a year. It was like, yes, it was a year. And the thing is, over there, everything was super different. Super different. But like in Dubai, sorry?
Everyone was super blonde.
Like, I'm not talking about like appearance wise, but yes, like everybody was super blonde. Like the blonde that would like attack your eyes like that much. Like if the sun was shining, the reflection was super
that you need sunglasses to watch it, like to look at them. Yeah.
Yeah, but the people over there, amazing. Like first of all, so many people tell me like before I was going there, I used to hear that Sweden is a cold country. It's like people are cold. They're always depressed and everything. That's a myth. Okay. People are super fun in Sweden. They know how to party. They know how to have a good time. They're friendly. For me, it was amazing. It was really good. But the thing is, like, you know, seeing yourself in the middle of a this was amazing. Like first of all, in another, it was happening in another language. It was super hard to adopt. Like, you know, I never learned the language because I never needed to. In Sweden, almost everybody speaks English. Also Germany. After we moved to Germany after that, also Germany was the same thing. Like, you know, when I used to go out with a couple of friends, everybody was talking in German language, like a bit of exaggerated Deutsch, but like it was the same. I was sitting there listening, trying to, you know, get my ears used to the language, the words and everything, the accent. It was super hard. But like in Dubai, no, because in Dubai, everybody was speaking in English. In Malaysia, no. In Malaysia, everybody speaks English. So it was easier, you know. So I think, from my opinion, is like, if you know the language, it's much easier to adopt the culture. So basically, it's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Martina, you're Italian. So what do you think about like how do you see yourself if you want to live in another country?
Well, I actually lived in Spain for 4 or 5 months, like 2 years ago.
Okay.
I had a break from university during the summer, and I decided to take my things and go there and just see how it would be, like if I were able to live by myself and how it could possibly be. And I must say that it has been a great experience for me.
Sorry, guys.
Maybe from you've gone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got disconnected. Yeah.
And I must say that, of course, like the Italian and Spanish cultures are, I wouldn't say the same, of course, because we're different in some way, but we share some I would like the lifestyle. Like we like to spend our time with friends outside, going to the restaurant, you know. Like from a cultural point of view, it was not a shock, of course. But I can say that, like, so I decided to go there to improve my Spanish. So until that time, I only had studied Spanish at university. So like the school Spanish, like the one that you learn in school. And I must say that it was not completely different, but you have to get used to the way that they speak in their everyday life. So yes, like being able to understand the jokes and being able to like also be an active part of like a dialogue among other people, like that you don't feel shy, and you don't feel that like that obstacle that when you are moving to another country, maybe you understand everything, maybe you know the language, but when it's your first time in a foreign country, it takes
confidence, like, you know, to get to
need some confidence. Yes,
you know, that is
exactly.
Yeah, that is a great point. actually today we have a guest, a special guest today. He's a great friend of ours. He's from Dublin, Ireland. He's been living in Milan for a while, and we want to ask him the questions and see that what does he think about this topic. Let's see if we can get John online.
Hey guys.
Hi, John.
Hi.
How's it going?
All good?
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, John's screen's on there. You're on the spot now.
Oh, now you're in the big screen. Lucky you.
Okay, John. Before you stop, we go for a small cheers. Salute to everybody.
I forgot my beer. Wait.
It's okay.
Oh, Martina.
What is that? Oh, okay.
I've got
Fisher.
Fisher.
Oh, okay.
This is not an Irish beer. This is a beer from France, actually.
Oh, is it good?
It's really good, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of a premium beer, but it tastes really good.
Oh, I should try it then.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Martina is
Cheers.
going.
Here we go.
Cheers to all of you.
Salute.
Salute. Okay, well, guys, I was listening to your conversation, and it's really, really interesting topic.
Yes, we want to know, like, okay, as just can you tell us about your experience of like moving to another country, not just per se Italy, just any other countries if you have moved before?
Sure. So just like a bit of background about me. My name's John. I'm in my mid-30s. I left Ireland when I was in my late 20s to go to Spain. I really wanted to live in Spain, and I went there to teach English because, of course, if you have English as a native language, it's almost like a second passport.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. That's true.
We're quite lucky. And I wanted to teach English and live in Spain and learn Spanish and enjoy living in a different country. And so I went there, and I was living there for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. And you know, a lot of the themes you guys talked about were the same things I was experiencing while there. I see the comment from Sarah. So
you're gonna see a lot of funny comments. Don't worry.
But you know, like a lot of the things you talked about were what I was thinking as well while living there. Of course, the language is a big part of living in a country. I always felt, you know, I was there for 18 months in total. I was learning all the time, getting better and better and better. But at the same time, if you don't have the language, you're in a bit of a bubble. And I felt like I was living in a bit of a bubble in the city where I lived, because I had my English-speaking friends. I had my colleagues and other English teachers. We were like partying at weekends, and we were getting to know each other. But when it came to getting to know local people, it was only through teaching some of my students. They would want to meet after classes and so on. It was limited. But you know, the other, like you guys talked about as well, culture. I mean, you're discovering a country and people's culture all the time. So, you know, I think living in a different country is a constant discovery. The language, the culture, how people act and behave, and so on. And anyway, so after 18 months, I came to Italy because I got a good job opportunity in Italy. I moved and lived in Ferrara. So like Maral talked about, I was living in Emilia-Romagna for a while. And
Ferrara is one of my favorite cities in Italy.
It's a beautiful place, really beautiful place. And I was living right in the center of the city. And it was really incredible. Like it feels like you're living in the medieval times in some moments. And so I lived there for like 2 years. I was teaching English there for 2 years. And it was like a new discovery. It was like a whole new adventure for me, because I had never any interest in learning Italian, but with a bit of Spanish in my pocket, learning Italian was easier. Like Martina talked about, like, you know, there's a definite link between the two languages.
Yeah, it's like an advantage if you want to. If you know already Spanish and you want to learn Italian, it's a bit of an advantage. Like it makes it a bit easier, because there's so many similarities between these two languages. I think it's a really good thing. But as we know, as we talked before, you're actually working in the field of communication, right?
Exactly. So I abandoned teaching English.
Yeah, exactly. The question that came up, like, what did you choose? Like you just chose to jump from like teaching and then go to communication. What made you make this decision?
It's a good question. Okay, so like before teaching, I was working in business back in Dublin.
Okay.
But I hated my job back there, and I really wanted to live in another country and experience that. And English was the option to do that. And then when I came to Italy after 2 years teaching in Italy and 4 years in total, I realized, okay, this is what English teaching is. I was teaching most of the time. Well, in Ferrara, I was teaching at the university, and I would start like at 8:30 in the morning. And then I would also, my job, I was contracted to a language school, and they would require me to work in the evenings as well. So sometimes I'd be finishing at 9 o'clock. So my day would start at 8:30 in the morning. I'd end at like 9 o'clock at night. It was a bit crazy. And there was a lot of, spaces in the middle where I wasn't doing anything. So it's hard to plan your life around this. And then I was thinking, okay, I want to do a bit more. And I feel like I could go back into my business. I could rediscover my business background. And so I was like, okay, I'd like to do something with communication and business. So I was searching around, and I found a really good master in Milan. And so I came to Milan, Mike, and went and did a master in Cattolica.
Do you speak Italian fluently? I don't know.
No, not fluently.
How good is your Italian?
Abbastanza bene.
That's definitely good. That's good.
We're not using Italian though, so I'm not going to show off my Italian.
Straight up with that accent and that speed, you're good, mate.
Let's answer Sarah's question. It's popping up on my screen. Is everybody this cute in Dublin like John? Well, I think, I was forced out of my country because I was too cute. So I'm afraid you will not find as many beautiful people as me in Dublin. Sorry to say.
Oh, John, you also been. I think, John, we got one more question you can answer. Is Dublin expensive?
Yeah, Giacomo was asking a good question. Dublin is very expensive, mainly for rent, because there's a huge problem with supply of apartments. A lot of people, of course, are living in Dublin from all over the world because there's a lot of jobs there. Right. And like apartments are very expensive. So that's the main problem. If you compare it to Milan, I know probably not everybody here is from Milan, but if you're comparing Dublin to Milan for other costs, probably it's similar. So,
okay.
Sorry, you guys want to ask something? Okay, no, I thought someone would say something else. Okay, John, one question. You were in Spain also, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which city in Spain were you living?
I lived in the corner of Spain, so the northwest corner in Galicia, right above Portugal, in a small city called Pontevedra.
And why Spain? Why did you choose Spain? And then why Italy?
Well, okay, Spain first. I mean, my uncle. The main reason was my uncle lives in Spain, and when I was a kid, he moved to Spain from London, and so I was going to Spain like basically every summer. And I started to love Spain. I really enjoyed being in there in the summertime. Of course, who wouldn't enjoy Spain in the summertime? And I really liked a lot of things about Spain: the weather, the culture, the food, and so on. So that was always there. And then I always felt like I really wanted to live on and learn Spanish, but live in continental Europe, because Ireland Ireland's a great place, of course, but it's raining all the time, and it's at the corner of Europe. It's like an island right in the corner of Europe, so you feel a bit isolated. And I really wanted to live in continental Europe, so I went to the corner of Spain, which was also quite isolated
at the corner of the continent.
Yeah. But it was great, and Galicia was kind of like for me, it was a good place to live, because there's a lot of Celtic culture in Galicia, which I didn't really know about. and it's also very green and wet like Ireland. So I felt like, you know, it was like a transition place for me to get used to not living in Ireland anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a great. Okay, do you think? Well, we talked about it, but do you think there is like a major cultural difference between Spain and Italy?
Yeah, I've always said to friends that I feel Italians are like a more civilized version of Spanish people, which may offend Spanish people, may even offend Italians. But I think Italians are like a more sophisticated people, where Spanish can be a bit more barbarian, and that's a really harsh word to use. And you know, when it comes to food, I think even with food, you can see that like Italian food is so much more diverse. I think, while in Spain, it's like,
yes, it is. Yeah,
a lot of ham, a lot of simple dishes. I may be being very unfair to Spain here, but I just feel like that's the big difference. Italy is a bit more sophisticated, civilized.
Okay.
well, thank you.
I'm playing to the crowd, you know. I know most of the crowd here is Italian, so I'm like, please. Are there many castles in Ireland? I want to ask about this. There's lots of castles in Ireland, Stefano. Lots and lots, because the Normans came to Ireland, then the English, and they built lots of castles in the 12th and 13th and 14th centuries, especially. So there's really some great intact castles and ruins of castles too. If you go anywhere in the British Isles, Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, you'll find castles. But there's some really good ones in Ireland for sure.
All right, that's great. Well, Martina, do you have any questions from John?
Tell us your first memory in Italy.
Whoa, my first as when I moved, is it?
Yeah.
If you had to pick a picture, you know.
That's a good question. Let me think. Well, you know, I think at the beginning, it was like a bit of a tornado, because I was like learning. Honestly, I knew very little about Italy before I came here. So I had been to Italy once with my parents when I was a teenager to Rome. So like suddenly I was in Ferrara, you know, and I was meeting my new colleagues, and I was finding an apartment. Like all of this was happening very quickly. So for me, it was a bit of a whirlwind, but it was so exciting as well, because I think that's the great thing about going to, you know, moving abroad and having independence, or trying to find independence. You're doing all of these things. You're making decisions that probably may be a mistake. Like in the end, the apartment I chose it was a great location, but it was a really dark apartment, and I didn't necessarily enjoy living in it. But you know, you make these decisions, and you're just living life, taking risks. It felt like a tornado, and it was a good tornado.
That's a really good experience. Like I think like the more you travel, the more you get to expand your mind over a lot of stuff. Like just not per se about the language, like, or the culture, like in anything. Like when you move to a new country, you can see a lot of new stuff that you never even knew about it. So I think like moving to another country, if you're comfortable with living there, I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who can have this kind of choices in their life. But let's go through another one. Tell us about the night you left, the night before you left Dublin.
Ooh, that was a bit tough.
I walked down the memory lane.
Yeah, but it still feels like not that long ago. Really, it doesn't. I mean, a lot. Like I was looking just to give you the background. I was looking for an English teaching job for a few months, 6 years ago. So like the end of 2013, I think, and the day before Christmas Eve, so the 23rd of December, I had an interview with like who became my future boss on Skype. And so on the 23rd of December, I did the interview, and I think that evening she offered me the job. So like, and she wanted me to come immediately after the New Year. So I had like then 2 weeks to like get ready to go to Spain, and I suppose like the last few days living in Ireland was like saying goodbye to friends, and then it was emotional for me with my parents because I was leaving home for the first time, and I'm an only child, and I really kind of realized how
Cheers to being only child.
yeah,
you feel me there.
great, but it's I mean it is great in general. But I've always wanted a better sister.
As I said in the previous episode, if I ever wanted to have a brother or sister, who would it be?
Ooh, for me, I don't know, maybe a sister to
Okay.
like to temper the boyness.
Yeah, you can go the balance. Yeah.
Here's a different question from a different Stefano. Temple Bar or Navilli better? It's a good question. I would say maybe Navilli, and that's a bit controversial since I'm Irish, right? And also since I'm from Dublin. I feel like Temple Bar is way too much of a tourist trap. As much as it's fun for tourists, like to see it, I think it's a bit too expensive, and it's not so genuine. While Navilli, you can go like obviously along the main canal, and you're seeing the same thing as Temple Bar. But if you go off the side streets, you can find some really cool places. And so yeah, I would say Navilli. Yeah.
All right, that's a great. Okay, let's go to another one. You've been to Dublin, Spain, and Milan by now. Where do you think you're gonna be? What do you see in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully alive. Hopefully we'll survive this coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
First of all.
No problem with that.
And I mean, more immediately, hopefully I'll leave my apartments, my bedroom, my prison cell. In the near future.
Out in the park.
Yeah, exactly. That would be nice. No, but I would like to. I like living in Milan, but I feel like I miss living beside the sea. And that's something I've realized, not living beside the sea. So when I came to Ferrara, I suddenly realized, okay, hang on a second, especially in the summertime, by the way, when it gets so hot and there's so many mosquitoes and there's no air, like there's no wind, and you're like, get me to the sea. And then you miss this, like the sea is it calms you, it really does. And that's probably, I would like to live beside the sea if possible. But in general, of course, I want to improve my.
You have a place in mind? There's a.
It's hard to think. I've been thinking about this a lot. If I want to stay in Italy, because of course there's lots of great places to live. But I don't have a particular place in Italy where I would say I definitely want to live there. I'm open to any place. Let's say.
That's really good. I think like if you're able to even at not being a child, even if you're on your adult life, if you're able to to settle down again in another country, that is a really good that's a really good advantage, because like not so many people can do that. It's super
Absolutely.
hard to find friends, settle down, all the ups and downs and everything, the hard stuff, the easy stuff. I think like it's a really good thing if you can actually adopt these kind of situation. So what in Italy, what do you think is any obstacles, any barriers to to adopt the culture? Or not language wise, because language, I think in Europe, Italian is the easiest language you can learn if you want to learn from English. I think this is my opinion, because like except about the grammar, I think the words, the vocabulary is super similar to English.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like Italian, just read the word as it's been written. So I think it's a really good opportunity to learn this language out of that, because like German, Swedish, Dutch, those languages are extremely difficult to learn. Like
I don't even want to know.
super hard. But for yourself, like not about the language wise, do you think that what are the obstacles to adopt the culture, to become one of them?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. I'm like, even before you asked the question, you were touching on some of those things, on some of those themes that like make it hard. Like I compare things to Spain, of course, because I lived in Spain, I live in Italy. I can make it an easy comparison, and I think really the main obstacle, not just in Italy but in general, is like you have to involve yourself as much as you can in society, because if you don't do that, if you don't involve yourself in community, getting to know people, you're just going to be an outsider. And maybe that's fine. If you want to be an outsider, it's fine. But if you want to really be part of a culture or be part of a community, you have to make an effort, an extra effort, really, because people who live in a place, and I mean, I felt this in Ferrara and the city I lived in Spain, less so in Milan, because Milan is more like a melting pot. But if you live in a small city, people are they're there living there. The citizens of those cities are living there. They have their own lives. They're not going to necessarily, you can't expect them to open their arms to you. You have to open your arms to them and really like show it.
Yeah, you're the one. You're the one who needs to take the first step, obviously.
Exactly.
You're
and
the one.
It's hard. It's hard because, of course, you have to constantly make an effort. But in the end, it's worth it, because if you can break through that barrier, if you can overcome that obstacle, like, then you see the rewards. And I mean, if I think about Milan, I mean, I've met many great people in Milan, and I randomly got involved in a group of guys who play football every week. And now, of course, we can't play football with coronavirus, but that's something that's invaluable. You meet all these guys and you make connections, and you're playing football. Like, it's wonderful. And also through work, the great advantage now is I work in an office environment with a lot of Italians, and then you meet lots of Italians this way as well. So attitude, I think attitude is the most important thing, right?
Exactly. So I think having a good attitude is a really good opening way, to just enter the community, enter the culture. So what would you think, like, about the Italians? If you want to describe them in one adjective, how would you say?
Now I have to be careful.
I would definitely say like good cooks. Like,
I was gonna go immediately to food. Why is that?
No idea. You need to go dig deep to see the history of why they cook so good. Like, the food is amazing.
I would say, like, if I use 2 words, or 3 words, protectors of food, or protectors of food culture, which is 4 words.
Exactly. I think Italians respect food. Like, they
we do.
They have exactly. Whatever they do, they cook, they eat, or they serve. It's everything they do with food is passionate. They put so much passion into doing it, and I think it's amazing because they respect it. They like, not so many countries they respect the food. They're just
Absolutely.
like, eat it and that's it. But Italian, they have so many. They have so many designs. They have so many ways to cook a very simple meal, a very simple meal, and they have so many. They put so many effort in it, and it makes it amazing. I think that is what makes it amazing. Like, even the culture, like, the culture of eating in Italy. Like, if you want to eat as an Italian, I think there's no other country than Italy that has the same culture. Like, they've got the antipasti, they got the first plate, the second plate, and then the dessert. And I just love it. I think it's like amazing to, it makes people to communicate more, because like, in so many countries you eat and that's it. Goodbye.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like that.
I think you're touching on it perfectly. Really, you are. I mean, one way I can summarize this is, and I say this to people a lot, like, what food culture, or if you're thinking of like a type, a cuisine, an international cuisine in any country in the world, in any city in the world, what restaurant are you going to find? It's going to be an Italian restaurant, right?
All the time it's going to be Italian.
They're everywhere. I mean, I always say then, of course, what type of pub are you going to find? You're going to find an Irish pub. We export our beer culture. Italians export their food culture, and I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And you can go to different cities, different towns, different regions, and you find completely different dishes. And It's like I'm going to be discovering this for the rest of my life for sure, because there's no end to the.
Yeah, exactly. The good thing is like it's a never-ending.
Yeah, me too.
You never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Martina. I think this is
As an Italian, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Like I can actually assure everyone, I can bet on this, that 99% of the guys in not just in Italy, just around the world, if they want to take a girl on a date, they would choose Italian. When they say the word Italian, oh,
Really?
love, I'm gonna take you to an Italian restaurant. The girl was like, oh, fancy. Like in
Is
every
that your move?
yeah, it's like in every culture. It's in every culture. The Italian food, the Italian theme of the restaurant has been super like it's been hacked into everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Like if they go into an Italian like an actual Italian restaurant, okay, because like there are so many restaurants that call themselves
Like
Italian.
the ones with the white and red tablecloth on the table.
Yeah,
Like
typical
those
tablecloth,
ones.
exactly.
Exactly, like something like that, you know, with the guy comes like he plays like a song next to you. They like I've been to when I first came to Milan, I was searching for the best restaurant, like the most coziest restaurant in Milan, and like the oldest one, it was super famous. And then I found this restaurant called Ristorante di Oscar. It's like the name was Oscar. So I searched for it and I was like, it's
Okay.
like a restaurant 50 years old restaurant.
Cuisine or something?
No, it's like it's a very small restaurant, super small.
I'm Googling right now.
You should go there. Like, if you guys, when this is over, you have to go to Oscar. Like, I think there is no other better pasta than ever. Like, as like.
But where is it?
Oscar.
I think it was in. I forgot the name.
Venezia.
You found it?
Yeah, I know.
Porta Venezia?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, it was a very small restaurant. I went there, and then there was a huge line outside it.
Yeah,
Huge line.
you know?
Yeah, it was really bad. I went there. I went to the door at the top, like at the beginning of the line. The lady opens the door. Inside, it's like crowded as hell. Like there's so many people inside. The girl looks at me. It's like, "Have you made a reservation?" I was like, "God, no. I don't even know. Like, I don't know." She was like, I'm sorry, but forget about tonight. There's no way you can get in if you don't have a reservation."
Whoa.
And I was like, I came all the way from Malaysia tonight, and I'm leaving tomorrow. I wasn't leaving, but I wanted to try that restaurant. She just felt bad. She just felt like really sorry for me. And she's like, "Okay, come back in 1 hour." And I tried to like hook you up with a seat or like a chair or something. I was like, "Okay, that's fine for me." After 1 hour, I came back. There was no table for each person. Like there was like 3-4 long tables, and people were just sitting on there, like one by one or two or like groups by
It's gonna be
group.
closed forever. I mean, due to the coronavirus.
Yeah, now it's closed. And then they brought me like I said, just give me the best pasta here. And then they said like the pasta alla Oscar is like the most famous one here. I swear I had never eaten a pasta as good as that one, like in my life. And then you know the cozy restaurant and the bars with the picture of the people who came there. There is like a bookstore, like a library, and next to it, like a bookshelf. And
This is a real thing in Italian restaurants.
I
Like
think
I wouldn't say traditional, but like really famous restaurant in Italy has pictures of famous people who went to the restaurant.
It makes you feel comfortable over there. It makes you like feel. And then there was this guy who was playing the violin. He came from outside. He was one of those players, like the players who play to get some money and everything. This guy enters the restaurant, start playing so many great Italian songs, and I was living I was living in the moment. I was enjoying the moment. It was really amazing. And then I was like, I have to go on a date in this restaurant. Like it's like a sport for me, to be honest.
Then what happened?
Like no, I didn't. No, that was only
Details.
I didn't go there. That was only the first time we went there, like back in like last October.
There are so many restaurants in Milan.
I need to try them. This is a good thing about Italy. The more, okay, is it better Irish beer or Czech beer?
This is a tough question. Also, yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I love Pilsen beers.
Irish beer. For me, it's beer.
Irish. For me, Irish.
I love Guinness. Guinness is obviously a unique Irish beer, so it stands on its own. But I really like Pilsen, Czech Pilsen beers. So let's call it a draw.
No. For me, it's definitely Irish. Like,
all right.
Guinness, you cannot get anything top Guinness. I don't think
Guinness, a cold.
No,
a cold
yeah.
Guinness is the best.
For me, Murphy's is better than Guinness.
Ooh, controversial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Controversial,
yeah.
Martina.
Is
yeah,
it
absolutely.
Because Murphy's is from the second city in Ireland, Cork, and Cork and Dublin have a big rivalry.
Yes, because I lived in Cork too.
Yeah.
Before Spain, I was living in Cork. I've been to Ireland like 4 or 5 times in my life.
Lucky you.
And so, and I must say that Murphy's is much better than Guinness.
I mean,
in
you
my
have
opinion.
a genuine opinion because you've been in Cork, and also, by the way, Cork is a great city. My mom is from Cork, and a lot of my family live in Cork. So, the city center.
It's a lovely city.
The city center is full of great bars and great nightlife. So I definitely agree. Lucky you.
So Murphy is also dark beer or light beer?
Yeah, it's a stout, like Guinness.
It's a stout, yeah.
All right.
Good beer, but I'm gonna say a draw. I mean, I like Czech beers a lot.
No, I've had so many Czech beers. Like when I was in Prague, I like them. Not in like that I didn't like them, but like I can't compare them to like Irish beer. For me, it's like Irish beer is like the best.
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome. Like hopefully when this is over, if I have the opportunity, I will definitely fly to Dublin. Like I want to see them because I have so many friends who live there and they always say a lot of good stuff about that place. So I think it's a really good opportunity for me to go there and also get the culture in Dublin.
Well, Ryanair, at least before coronavirus, Ryanair flights to Dublin are very cheap from Milan. So
Ryanair,
just bring all your money with you because you're going to need it.
It's going to be a bit of a rip-off in Dublin, yeah. I can guarantee that. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I think
thank you. It's been great as usual.
Really fun. It was really good, John. Thank you so much for.
Nice having you.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
You guys as well.
Thank you.
Well, should we answer Sarah's question before?
Yeah, go on. It's Sarah's comment. We have to answer.
I think Irish girls are very, very modern girls. They definitely don't have the classical traditional approach. So I think they're very ready to get involved. There's a very famous nightclub in Dublin called Coppers, and if you go there, and you're usually there when you're very drunk, and you go there, you can kiss anybody you want, basically.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't matter what, if you're male or female.
Better than Tinder.
Right.
Yeah, it's basically the physical Tinder.
Stupid me looking for nature in Ireland and Galway.
Maral, you're right. That's where you should go. You should go to Galway and to the west of Ireland if you want to see real Ireland. But if you want to meet a guy or a girl, go to Dublin and to nightclubs there.
Next time.
Okay, all right. Let me I will definitely go there.
Take your time to plan the trip. Now you have time, so.
I've got plenty of time, right?
We want to do it. Guys, we need to definitely go there. Like there's no knowing that. All right, guys. Anyway, it was really fun again, as always. Again, for our viewers, to subscribe, share the live post, and then turn on the notification if possible, so you can be notified anytime we have the live session, which will be every Friday for now. We all see you hopefully next week. And again, thank you, John. It was really good having you tonight.
Pleasure for me. Thank you.
And I hope to see you again outside, not virtually. Like
let's see when that's possible, eh?
Yeah, obviously. Like it's gonna end. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Come again. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.